squeezed by anger over crackdown and tensions with the U.S. And Air Canada and WestJet have suspended all flights to Cuba amid the fuel shortage in that area. In Cuba, people go without food and power as U.S. Chokes oil supply and tourists are fleeing. So Cuba says international airlines can no longer refuel there as Trump turns up the pressure. And as U.S. squeezes Cuba's oil supply, airlines are rethinking flights, and Havana rations health services and along those kind of ways and everything like that. So Keir Starmer faces call to resign over Peter Mandelson appointment. Is nothing short of TV gold, mix horror with wild comedy, and call it Starmer's last stand, is what The Guardian is reporting. And definitely Keir Starmer, the economist is saying, is a sick man who can't afford to catch a cold. So after bruising days, UK Starmer pledges to never walk away from his job. And the transatlantic alliance is down but not out. Trump, the demolition man of world order. That's what a European security expert warned. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday. And that was reported by CNN. And Israel gives itself more control over occupied West Bank. Trump says he opposes Israeli annexation steps in the West Bank. So we'll see how this goes on and all along those lines. And the Muslim countries and EU join condemnation of Israel moves deepening their West Bank control and all in that kind of space. So definitely that's some of the things going on in the world and all in that way. Let's see what's happening in the U.S. And then I'll bring in some of my fellow panelists and see what they've got on their minds as well. So lots going on in the world. FAA, that's the aviation department, has lifted El Paso airspace closure after Mexican cartel drone breach. So there was a Mexican cartel drone breach, and that's what had caused that closure there to be for a while. And El Paso flights were grounded as FAA site security reasons in a 10-day airspace ban. So definitely that's something that folks are paying attention to. And the Rio Rico women claim son-in-law detained in disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. So definitely police are concluding their search of her property in Arizona in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And GOP rebels join Democrats to reject Trump tariff legislation. So House rejects tariff restrictions in rebuke of both Trump and Johnson. So after GOP rebellion, House set for Wednesday vote on Trump's Canada tariffs. So we'll see if those tariffs hold up or don't hold up, and all in that space. And Dems demand Lutnick's resignation over Epstein files. So Lutnick grilling shows Trump a glimpse of a grim possible future. So Lutnick acknowledges traveling to Epstein's island, and he's under fire after the latest batch of the Epstein revelation. So we had our special, the first one of, I believe, 3 or 4 that was on yesterday, and we'll be continuing those series. We'll start with 3, and who knows, maybe it'll even go past the 3, but we'll see how folks react to it at all in that space. And GOP Senator Lisa Murkowski comes out against Trump's election bill with a warning to her party. So Republicans are pushing to drastically change the way you cast your ballots, and Trump touts a bill that can make voting harder for married women. So definitely this is something that is out there as well. And Trump told Palm Beach police chief everyone knew about Epstein and Maxwell was evil. So late night definitely was mining the Trump's million mentions in the Epstein files and was making a lot of jokes around that. So ex-police chief said Trump told him in 2006 everyone knew of Epstein's behavior. So definitely looks like there might be some investigations into what was known, when it was known, and how it was known. And the grand jury has rebuked Justice Department's attempt to indict 6 Democrats in Congress. So Slotkin knocks Trump administration after grand jury refuses to indict in illegal orders video. So grand jury refuses to indict those Democratic lawmakers and all in that space. So like I said, lots going on in the world, and I've got Rick with me, and we'll see what Rick got on his mind.
All right. So article on Drudge. There
Yes.
is, AI's been getting better and better. This article says it's getting better so fast now that it's crazy and it's going to kick all our asses. And so, when I argue with Lance is worried that Muslims are going to take over or Latinos because they have more kids on average per family than Whitey.
Right.
And I always tell Lance, that if so, that will take generations. It'll take 100 years for differential reproductive rates to have a significant effect. And if you really want to worry about something, worry about AI. And this article makes it even more clear that AI is coming for us all, that AI is now programming itself. It's causing programmers to lose their jobs. It's going to cost lawyers their jobs because it can draft entire briefs now, and it used to make a lot of mistakes. It's making fewer and fewer mistakes. It's going to cost stockbrokers and then analysts their jobs. It's going to cost writers their jobs, software engineer, medical analysis, customer service. And this article says that the only way to avoid having your ass kicked professionally by AI is to team up with it, to sign up for Claude AI or Chat GPT and learn how to use it to help you with your tasks. And you'll have an advantage over the people who are slow to adapt.
It's always that adaptation thing. By the way, getting off of AI just for a second, but the ICE chief is telling the U.S. House agency that they're just getting started. So the ICE chief refuses to apologize for the Minneapolis shooting victims being labeled a terrorist and everything like that. So apparently they're thinking that they might even ramp it up some more and everything like that if we are to believe his testimony from yesterday and everything like that, because they were testifying before Congress and saying that they're just now getting started. They've got some other plans, I guess, for us and all along those lines. So what are your thoughts? Are we going to have...
thought is, I'll go back to AI. It's crazy that we are wrestling with the smartest technology in history at a time when we have the dumbest mofos in history running the country. Yep. It's the smartest time in history, and it's the freaking dumbest. I mean,
speaking of dumbest time and everything like that, I was talking to Kim earlier, and she might be joining us later on. Not so much about the Epstein. We were trying to figure out why they went after Savannah Guthrie's, I think his grandmother or mother and everything like that, and what their reasoning for this kidnapping was. And apparently they have a suspect and everything like that. But the other thing that
they let him go, that they had a person of interest and they let him go.
Yeah, they let him go apparently. But the other thing that we were talking about, which I don't have an answer for and everything, is that apparently Bad Bunny is still in the news. The FCC apparently is investigating, and I think they even might have slapped a fine on him and all along those lines because they said that the lyrics were explicit, and the FCC...
That is total fucking BS. So he sang his song. His song has numerous verses. He didn't sing the dirty verses. So everybody, the right-winger jackasses are freaking out because they'll throw the lyrics up onto X for everybody to read. Those are not the lyrics he sang. In fact, he went extra far to make his performance wholesome on the Super Bowl, where if you go to a regular Bad Bunny performance, there are a lot of butts. You know, there are women wearing, thong kind of underwear and shaking their butts. He had all the women, all the butt shakers in the Super Bowl. They were wearing shorts. It's like, I was very disappointed because I wanted to see butts, but no, he held a wedding, an actual wedding that took like 10 seconds in the middle of it was wholesome as all heck.
Yeah, but apparently Trump and the FCC is going after him and all along those lines.
But like I said, we have the dumbest motherfuckers in history running the country.
Yeah, we got some crazy folks going after that. But yeah, when she told me that they had sued him for explicit lyrics, I think it was like in the millions and everything like that, that there was a fine being leveled against Bad Bunny. And apparently they had translated some of the lyrics. And they probably, like you said, translated the original song, not what he sang.
Yeah, Bad Bunny should say, bring it on. Bad Bunny probably is worth $100 million. He could afford $1 million or $2 million to go to court and do discovery and like have the judge fine the government for Trump's side for malicious and frivolous prosecution.
Oh yeah, he could probably definitely do that and everything like that. But like I said, I was surprised that they were trying to sue him for that because they said that there was some sexual not sexual explicit explicit sexual acts that were taking place, and the only thing, and they were complaining about the two guys that I guess grinded together, and then they were also complaining about, I guess, his grabbing his crotch. But I mean, Michael Jackson did that when he was living, so as did
Janet Jackson showed a boobie. Remember
Yeah.
when everybody went crazy? She was dancing with Justin Timberlake, and she had a breakaway boob cover, and so. Was Janet Jackson prosecuted for a boob? I don't think so. Did anybody in the Bad Bunny do anything like more shocking than a boob? No.
No, and they didn't show any of the bottom parts and anything like that. They might have had some sexual acts that were implied by the way that they were grinding and everything.
It's my nature to look closely for stuff like that, and I didn't see it. The only thing I saw that like amused me in that direction was the dancers were working really hard, and it looked like they had butt crack sweat. Some of them had gotten, if you work out hard, you get so. But
yeah, you get that, and it's not all that appealing. As a matter of fact,
well, anyway, it's just fucking nonsense to distract from. We're supposed to get the January job numbers
right
today.
The job numbers are supposed to come out today, I think, and I'll find out what they are and everything like that. Hey, Sasha, it looks like y'all had an incident in British Columbia with guns and violence and everything like that. So I guess they're trying to figure out what the gun laws are in Canada as they are compared to the U.S. and everything like that. So what's the latest on that gun shooting at that particular school that you're hearing, because you're there in Canada?
Well, I heard it's a small, not even a village. It's there are like 3,000 people live there. There is only one school with slightly over 100 students in it. Whoever did that, from what I understand, she killed herself as well. And the motives are unknown at this time. Very little known because it's so remote. It's like it's British Columbia, but it's not Vancouver or even Victoria. It's somewhere like probably 500 kilometers northeast from Vancouver. So it's kind of a very little known little place. And we'll wait for more information. What can I say?
Yeah, that makes sense and everything like that.
I have the job numbers.
Yeah, give me the job numbers.
It's surprisingly strong. It was estimated to have been 22,000. It came in at 130,000. Well, so much stronger than anticipated. Now, can you trust the number? Because these are Trump numbers. Who knows? The number for all of 2025 was revised downward to 898,000. So they do the initial number that comes out within a week or two, and then they get more data over the next few months, and they revise the earlier number. Trump's number for all of 2025 was 584,000, which is 1/4 the average number of jobs gained since 2011, not including the COVID year. So he was already his jobs rate was 75% below the normal rate of new jobs created. And this now has been revised downward again. So I don't know. 130 is better than people thought. It's still not the rate that Biden. It's not the rate we had in the first 3 years of Trump. It's still kind of weak.
It's a weak economy, and we'll see what goes on that. Nick has joined us, so we'll see what Nick's got on his mind. But I did have a question for Nick because he's brought it up on a couple of other shows, as have you, Rick, as well. But are we more forgiving of people that are not being sincere in their relationships and all along those lines? Because apparently Norwegian biathletes who won a bronze then used that opportunity to admit their affair and everything like that. So they apologized to their girlfriend and had a whole cheating confession. And we all know what happened with Clinton when he was in office and how he had his affair and everything. And of course, there's a number of affairs that our current president has had as well. So we just more forgiving, particularly to our fellow men, not necessarily the women.
So wait, these two athletes who competed together admitted they were banging and apologized to their partners?
Well, this is the one biathlete, so that's one athlete. I don't think it was two together. It was one athlete, but it became what many people are saying the most cringe-inducing moment of the Olympics so far. Because
why did this guy took that moment to ask for forgiveness?
Yes, that's what he did. He took that moment to ask for forgiveness and everything. So even some of the women are saying it's hard to forgive the Olympian for cheating and his declaration. And he didn't even win the gold. He won a bronze. Nothing wrong with it.
Well, maybe they're trying to make the Olympics great again or something. Or interesting to see. I mean, it's shown a lot over here in Europe because it's in Milan. So I got to watch a lot of it. It was pretty good, but the Olympics are the Olympics. It's the same thing over and over again, and there's not much variety. On the Super Bowl, same thing, except the game was apparently boring. I got to see the clips of it. It's kind of like Seattle, New England.
Yeah, the first four scores were field goals.
I know, right. It was a pretty bad game.
Yeah, the one team scored the first 5 times. So yeah, it was not a great.
But the thing is, all they're talking about, Mark, is the halftime show.
Well, and I mentioned that because Kim had told me that they now is soon about the halftime. So
it's like talk about the big divide. You have people on the right going this way on the halftime show, the people on the left going on that halftime show, and they're all about the halftime show. No one's talking about the game. It's like, who cares about the game? It's the halftime show. And I think that's pretty amusing because that's the best.
We'll get off the halftime show in the sports aspect. Sasha, is the Transatlantic Alliance dead? Because apparently there's some folks that are saying that Trump has become the demolition man of world order, and Europe is not happy with us. A lot of other countries aren't happy with us as well. And of course, there's the whole tariff conversations, because I guess even in the House, they're going to try to repeal some of his tariffs that he was doing to your country, the country of Canada, the country you're currently in, and all along those lines, and have been in for a number of years. But what's your take about this? Are we about to see the dismantling of the Transatlantic Alliance and NATO and stuff like that? So what's your take?
I don't think that will be a breakup of that alliance, which has been around for 80 years. And I think that one criminal, even on the magnitude of being a Trump, could unsettle something that existed for 80 years before him. And they're just biding time. First of all, he's an old man, so he may die almost any day. He may not live to the end of his tenure. And then eventually there will be a midterm election, which he will lose badly, and he will be paralyzed. Not he, but his party. By the way, today was a very interesting vote in Congress, and Mike Johnson was defeated. Although he has a majority, believe it or not, he has a majority.
What did he get defeated on? What was the issue?
The issue was that there would be a vote that would make all the tariffs and many other things illegal. And if that would be lost by Trump's MAGA people, it would go to Senate. And now Senate also looks very uncertain because there are a lot of Republicans in Senate are not happy with Trump's policies. And this is what drives down the U.S. economies. All these numbers that you saw today, which were released, they are all bogus numbers, manufactured numbers. Nobody believes them. And so if initially there was kind of upsurge in the market, it subsided very quickly. And now the market is moving down as supposed to be. And these numbers are good for nothing. And in fact, because of these numbers, the likelihood of interest rates going lower evaporated. It's not going to lower anymore. Anyway, I'll talk a little bit more about it on our investment showed.
And the investment showed one
Well,
o'clock.
I want to go back to the Olympic guy. He made a huge strategic mistake. Never publicly confess cheating, because then you're publicly humiliating your partner. That's something to confess in private and beg for forgiveness. The girlfriend said his actions were hard to forgive, and she was unhappy being thrust into the spotlight. So no, never make a public confession, because you're humiliating.
Time for a breakup. So anyway, that's what I think. It's kind
Time for a breakup and definitely like that.
stupid.
I want to get back to political stuff in the world and all along those lines, because apparently, and you've talked about this before, Sasha, the European Parliament is clearing the way for transferring asylum seekers to unrelated countries. And I know we've done that here in the U.S., and some people have had been in an uproar over this, where you've sent people to the countries that they're not from. So apparently the EU has approved this tougher asylum law as anti-migration feelings are growing even in Europe. So they are going to be allowing deportation of migrants to what are called safe third countries. So maybe not the country that you're from, but what they consider a third country that you're safe at and everything like that. So what is our thoughts around this? Like, I think even on this show, we talked about people that aren't from Honduras being shipped to El Salvador or being shipped to one of the other countries that's in Latin America, like maybe Brazil or Belize or something like that. So what's our thoughts around people in Europe?
Anywhere but here. As the poll said, Poland is for Poles only. And if somebody just goes in and they can't get them back to their country, they'll send them back to whatever country. Hey, look, there's been a history of that. Look what England did. They sent people to Australia. I mean, they sent people to America. They didn't send people back to the country they're from. You don't have any rights to go back there. They can send you to Tobago. I mean, well, Tobago is probably a nice place to go. They won't accept you. But hey, look, if you decide you're going to bust into somebody's party, they can bust you back and send you somewhere else. Too bad.
This is the tip of the melting iceberg. The climate change. I mean, there are plenty of reasons for people to want to move out of the country they lived in, but climate change over the next 20 years may cause 500 million people to go on the move, to abandon their countries that were wrecked by climate change. And so,
well, speaking of being wrecked, yes, I hear you, Rick. But speaking of being wrecked and everything like that, I'd love to hear Nick's thoughts about this, because he's so big into statistics and facts, and some of these, and you too, Rick, some of these reports that come out. But apparently there is a Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index, and apparently the U.S. has slipped to its lowest ever rank in a global corruption index. So the U.S. drops to its lowest ranking existing in this global corruption perceptions index, and the UK also sank to a new low as well. So what is our thoughts around this? Because apparently they are putting rankings on corruption, and apparently the US is slipping to its lowest ever spot.
So the National Review is a Republican rag. They're a conservative publication.
Oh yeah, I read it all the time. It's great.
All right, so they came out with an article saying that even if you take every accusation of Biden's corruption as true, because there's a lot of the accusations I think were kind of ridiculous, but just take them as fact for the sake of argument. Even if you do, Trump's corruption is 100 times bigger. Trump has corruption in the billions. Biden had alleged corruption in the millions. Of
course, it also depends on how you define corruption. The thing is, if you define corruption as that he's engaged in nepotism, hey, he wins. So because, or he engages in Machiavellian hiring people that are sycophants.
Well, Trump, since he was elected this last time, the net worth of him and his sons and his son-in-law and daughter, their net worth has increased by $4 billion.
Yeah, it's very similar to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. I agree.
But not really, because Nancy Pelosi was married.
No, it's not, Nick.
She made tons of money.
Hold on.
Nancy made tons of money doing insider government.
Fine, okay. Now there's no.
Nick,
Let us get some words out. So, all right. So insider trading is bad, but it's not illegal.
Oh, I see it. It's
hold on.
It's bad, but it's not bad.
let's
Yeah,
get
come
the
on.
facts out.
You
So
know,
yeah,
see,
there was
yeah,
probably
that's the beauty of the left there. Like,
Hold on a second.
No,
Let-
I-
let-
let
let-
facts their way, and if it doesn't work their way, let's just bloody ignore
no,
it.
let's
Hold on,
talk
hold on. Let
about
me.
what.
So while you guys argue that, I'm going to have myself a nice salmon dinner while you guys figure out how corrupt.
And you
corrupt-
run away knowing you're
Well,
wrong.
there's
That's
nothing to
the
say
way
because
that you
you'll
do.
disagree
Drop
anyway.
in
get
and
the-
say
But I think
something
what you should
ridiculous
do
and
is
run
a
away.
level of
This
self-examination.
is crazy. I'm going to start talking over Nick now because
Nick.
Nick is now just sitting here saying nothing. Bye, Nick. Okay, Rick.
All right, let's get the facts out. Insider trading for most people is illegal. It's not illegal if you're a member of Congress, which is crazy, but that's the deal. And so members of Congress often have their net worth shoot up hugely because they can trade on stuff they learn while they serve in Congress. And Nancy Pelosi is married to a lifetime professional investor. So, her husband, they're in their 80s. And this guy has been investing for what, 50, 60 years? So, being in Congress and being married to a guy who, their net worth is probably $100 million. Did they do anything illegal? Likely not. Did they do a bunch of stuff that would have been illegal if she hadn't been in Congress? Yeah, probably so. She leaves work or she gets on the phone. She calls her husband and she says, "Yeah, do we have anything in such and such?" And he's like, "Well, not really." She goes, "Well, maybe you want to put 2-3 million in such and such."
Well, and we're not the worst. Go ahead.
Just really quick. And see, the interesting piece is that if and we'll say because insider trading is wrong, and we don't know the full story about Nancy Pelosi and how that went about, but insider trading is wrong. But Nick's whole argument is based on, well, the left did it, so it's okay. No, what you're saying is that it's now okay because now Donald Trump is caught doing it 10 times worse. So the fact of the matter is Nancy Pelosi's didn't hit her wealth didn't grow at the rate Donald Trump's did. Her wealth didn't massively change at the rate Donald Trump's did. But if you're calling Nancy Pelosi bad and saying it's okay for Donald Trump, then you're actually projecting and complaining and saying that one is okay because it's Donald Trump and the other's bad because it's Nancy Pelosi. So your whole argument is moot when you're making that whole dumb argument. So
yes, I can give you the numbers. Nancy Pelosi's estimated net worth in 2024, her and her husband, $413 million, up from $114 million in 2018. So yeah, their net worth almost quadrupled in 6 years. Did they do anything illegal? No, because it's legal for members of now they keep trying to pass laws that make it illegal for members of Congress to engage in insider stuff. That law never passes because the members of Congress like making millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, there's that. But then if you also take a look at what exactly Donald Trump did, from the Trump coin to the actual deals that the military weapons deal that his son is now involved in, to now we got the Trump RX, which his sons and stuff are probably making money off of. They make money off. Everybody's making money off of name, image, and likeness. And yet when we throw his name on stuff, we don't think he's making money off of name, image, and likeness.
Name, image, and likeness. They have so the Trump family is involved in 6 different crypto schemes, which is all name and image and likeness. You name a coin, the Trump coin, this Bitcoin kind of thing. Suckers pile in, and Trump doesn't even invest any money for allowing the use of his name. The people running the crypto scheme give him millions of bucks worth of crypto. And if he's smart, at some point, he starts unloading it and he'll get some money out of it. And this will cause the coin to collapse, but only after Trump and sons get a couple $100 million out of it.
Well, the worst part about the crypto schemes is that money's untraceable.
Mhm.
So now and we luckily there was that one we found out that due to reporting and everything, we found out that it was a UAE group that invested $500 million into his crypto coin and ended up where now we're giving chips and stuff to UAE because they gave $500 million to Donald Trump. That was a straight up exchange. That was a quid pro quo. That's this corruption at its highest level. But yet, no, yeah, let's call out everything else. Yeah, that's what MAGA does. They
That's
don't
what
want
MAGA
to-
does. But I got good news for Sasha and everything because they ranked the different countries and everything like that. And apparently in the Americas, and I know this is a country that Nick has mentioned before, Canada is the least corrupt of all the countries, Venezuela the most. So in this CPI ranking, Canada is actually seen as least corrupt than the U.S. and Venezuela is seen as the most corrupt. And it even points out that part of what they're using is the use of public office to target and restrict independent voices such as NGOs and journalists, the normalization of conflicted and transactional politics, the politicization of prosecutorial decision-making, and actions that undermine judicial independence as trends that all send a dangerous signal that corrupt practices are acceptable. And all of those are practices that Trump is involved in one form or fashion or another and everything like that.
Let's talk about an old deal for Trump from his first time as president. When he left, Saudi Arabia gave his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, $2 billion to manage in a hedge fund. Kushner has no relevant experience, never managed a hedge fund before, wasn't trained to do it. They gave him $2 billion to invest. And hedge fund fees, they charge 2 and 20. They charge 2% a year of your assets that they hold per year and 20% of any earnings you make. So say Kushner sucks, doesn't make any earnings. He still makes $40 million a year for managing the $2 billion. And if he happens to make $100 million for Saudi, a 5% rate, he gets to keep 20 million of it. So it was, Saudi has a ton of money. They were happy to, let $2 billion potentially underperform on the chance that Trump becomes president again.
Yeah, they were willing to do that and everything like that. Hey, Sasha, you're a world traveler. So what is your thoughts about the ones that are least corrupt? Because apparently the least corrupt countries are Denmark, Finland, Singapore, New Zealand, Norway, and then rounding out the top 10 were Switzerland and Sweden, with Luxembourg and Netherlands and Germany and Iceland rounding out the top 10 and everything like that. So it sounds like a lot of European countries that are doing quite well, including Iceland and everything. If you want the bottom half of the corruption chain, it's South Sudan, Somalia, and Venezuela, Libya, and Yemen, and everything like that. So what's your take as a world traveler?
I was in every country that you mentioned with at least corruption, except New Zealand and Iceland. Although I may visit Iceland this year, New Zealand, no, it's too far. And yeah, indeed, you feel when in countries that there is very little corruption, if no corruption at all. And interestingly enough, all these countries, like last time I was in Denmark, it was almost impossible to pay cash for almost anything. Everyone carries little cards, whether I don't know whether they're credit cards or debit cards or whatever. So even if you buy a cup of coffee, you give your card, and that's it. And you get back your card with a cup of coffee, and that's all. So they don't use cash. So this is what I've noticed in many of these countries.
All these countries that you mentioned as being least corrupt, they have one thing in common, except for Germany. They are tiny ass countries. When you have a country that's got 2 million people, or Iceland has what, 250,000 people, it's easy for people to A, team up to do great stuff, and B, keep an eye on each other. Freaking Finland with 2 million people compared to the US with 345 million people and 50 million people being crazy yahoos. it's tougher to root out, incompetence and corruption in a big ass country.
Well, if you would eliminate use of cash in the United States, and you can start with a single city, single state, not with all country, of course, you will see that everything will be much more ordinarily. Even if you're purchasing gun, it will be immediately reflected because on the transaction record, okay, such and such purchased a gun, and you can always follow up on it. And I think that would definitely make corruption much less visible.
It's already really tough to use cash in certain, like say you do a heist and you steal 10 million bucks. How are you going to spend the $10 million? How are you going to do it without drawing the attention of somebody? If you deposit more than, I think, $10,000 into your bank account, it triggers a thing where they want to know where it came from.
Yeah, most money still marked and everything like that. Because I think if you grab that much money in a bank heist, they'd probably
but say it's not a bank heist. Say you knock over a drug house where they are keeping millions of bucks. You still have to figure out how to avoid being key. If you're trying to write a heist movie, it's tougher to write one that's set now because
Yep. You mentioned AI earlier and everything like that. And one of the things that AI has been very much involved in is drone attacks and everything like that. So I did see there was another drone attack. I think if I remember correctly, I know Odessa is your home in terms of original home and everything like that, Sasha, but I think Kharkiv is near there. And there was a drone attack that the Russians launched and everything like that recently that killed some infants, unfortunately. But how much is the AI helping with the drone attacks from both the Ukraine and from Russia and everything like that? Because every time I turn on the news, there is another drone attack, but I don't know how much AI is guiding those drones.
It's not a question of AI. It's a question of a criminal in the White House who insists on the negotiation of peace process without restricting the bombardment of Ukrainian cities, killing every day innocent civilians, women, children, elderly people. This is a crime. This is much worse than what's Putin doing. Because, okay, Putin is fighting the war. Okay, it's an unjust war. It's horrible war. But anyway, he fights the war. What is Trump doing there, conducting this negotiations of being $12 trillion offered to him by Russians as a bribe to bring Ukraine to its knees and surrender? This is what's going on. So he encourages Putin to continue this bombardment, bringing Ukraine to surrender. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, it sounds like he's doing that and everything. We did have a commentator from LinkedIn. It might be one of Nick's people and everything like that, but they were saying that things are lower in Thailand. So I guess they were saying that things are good in Thailand in terms of economics. I haven't been to Thailand, so I don't know whether they are correct or not, but apparently they're a financial.
Freaking Thailand is everybody needs to go to Thailand. Thailand is one of the friendliest countries on earth for tourists. It's a fucking great ass country.
Sounds like
it used to be that way, Rick. It keeps changing to the worse because there are attacks on European and tourists and so on. And, not necessarily by Thai people. It could be by visiting criminals from Europe or US or so on. So
you're right. Before you go to a country, you should check out the State Department report on the safety level for tourists in that country. Now, I don't know, maybe, since our government is all screwed up right now, maybe the State Department reports aren't any good anymore, but you used to be able to look it up and assess the risk level if you were going to travel to one of these joints.
Yeah, by the way, this gentleman said that they were a Dutch citizen, so they agree, and they were also saying autocrat versus democratic Republican. So they were
the Netherlands, another insanely great country to go visit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
Netherlands is a great country to visit and everything like that. Sasha and maybe Dr. Sharif has some thoughts as well, but it looks like Trump is not backing Netanyahu in terms of his West Bank annexations and everything along those lines. So I guess that is a major issue that's going around as to whether he's going to support the annexation, because he's actually pulling back on his support of Israel in that particular case. So I was just wondering our take on this notion of further expansion into the West Bank by Israel.
Well, I don't know what to say about it. I think at the end of the day, Netanyahu will continue to do whatever he believes is right to do. He's a elected prime minister of Israel. I don't know when is the next election, if there will be next election. What interestingly enough, that Russia and the US are pressuring Ukraine to hold elections there in hope that Zelensky would lose to anybody. And so therefore, whoever will be next president of Ukraine will give up its territories and so on. How you can see the election in the country which is at war, which is unsafe, to come to this voting booth, because there are drones, there are artillery attacks, and so on. How it's going to be done, nobody knows.
And by the way, our new listener is saying that everywhere in the world, I don't know what Kim thinks about this, but they're saying that everywhere apparently is screwed up and everything. And he says that they now have high inflation in the Danish country, and maybe Trump likes their new president. So apparently they just got a new president elected. So they're arguing that the whole world might be kind of crazy and everything like that. So that's one of our newer listeners. So hello to Cornelius D. Leanne and everything like that.
Well,
So
I want to thank Cornelius for typing this comment in. But you got a point there. But if you take a look at the impact of what our decisions is making around the world, yeah, it's going to screw up everywhere around the world. The decisions like what we're doing here in the United States on the tariffs, on the way that we have reacted to pedophiles by not enforcing the laws and making these men accountable, by allowing them to get away with it because they're wealthy men. It impacts the whole world. It really does.
yeah, and they would. It's
Ripple
nighttime
effect.
where they are and everything like that.
Good
So
night.
they said good night to us and everything like that. So, but they did love the conversation, and they'll talk to us later.
So
That's
the
right.
trouble with like a lot of the perpetrators in Epstein is, in addition to having billions of dollars that they used to shield themselves from consequences, these were old men at the time that they were raping, and they're even older now, like Les Wexner, he called a co-conspirator in the unredacted Epstein. He's 88 years old. So like he gets to escape consequences by being old and then dying.
Well, and I agree with you, Rick. It's horrible. It's horrible. They have known about all of this in Lex for 20 years. You're right, Rick. You're right.
Yeah, and like a lot of the biggest rapists in the U.S. Harvey Weinstein, old. Bill Cosby in his mid 80s now. Cosby got to rape, for 30, 40 years until he was an old man, and only then did he face some consequences. And then he got out of prison on a technicality. But that's your defense against consequences, is just outliving the trouble.
Well, and the problem is the law enforcement will not enforce. I know technology today will not enforce the laws against any of the extreme wealthy and influencers. They just won't do it. I mean, the police reports show Trump and Epstein raping girls going back as far as 1992, and the police and the FBI, the girls filed with the FBI as well, would not do anything. So that deters people from filing to begin with. But I agree with you. They drag it out. But, I realized something this morning. The comment was made, if you arrested all of the men that participated in the illicit activities listed in the Epstein files, half of Congress and the Senate and our government would be gone. Well, good riddance. You know, that's what our justice system is for. But what it became, the Republican Party especially, and you know what? Don't push me down because I say that, because I used to be Republican until I learned more. But the Republican Party became a lobby to protect the pedophiles.
Yeah,
A big lobby, because Trump, Elon, all of those men, Wexner, if you go look at all the billionaires who put money into Trump becoming president to protect them, you're going to find out that, you know, all of these men were in the Epstein files, but they Republicans. And
yeah, but my favorite people are disgusted former Republicans. Caitlin Collins, the reporter on CNN who asks Trump tough questions, she's a Republican. She started her career as the entertainment reporter for a scurrilous right-wing rag called the Daily Caller, but it doesn't. Her boyfriend is a Republican politician, but it doesn't stop her from thinking Trump. I mean, she doesn't state her opinion. She tries to remain neutral, but obviously she's skeptical of Trump. Joe Walsh, a former congressman, a former MAGA, now disgusted with Trump. Rick Wilson, Republican strategist, disgusted with Trump. They know what the Republican Party should be, and they're disgusted with what it has become.
Well, because as it starts to unfold, the few people left in the Republican Party with any morals who don't want to be inhumane to people will start, you know, the switch will turn on. But the thing is that you have huge donors, huge donors making sure Trump got into office, and it was to protect them. And this has got to end, because that's not what our justice system is. Our justice system is a complete disgrace with this, a complete disgrace. Anyone else, they would march down into the jail and just humiliate them, put them on a pedophile list so that you would know who the pedophiles are. They will not touch anyone in these files because of the wealth and influence they are. Mike Johnson, to me, is the worst. He is the worst one. He's not even in the Epstein files, but if you review what he has participated in, and maybe it's not in the Epstein files because they preferred little boys, but it's still a pedophile. And it's still, I think, participated in it if they deeply investigated the Christian private school that he and pedophile Pressler, Judge Pressler, opened after Pressler was accused for raping boys. So Mike Johnson has participated in things that are very similar. And that school was closed down 2 years after it was open for fraud. But it was open the same time Erica Kirk opened up her nonprofit charity to give little girls stuffed animals in Romania. And somehow or another, she made many millions of dollars in a charity that was supposed to give little toys to little girls. So, I mean, it's all, there's a bigger puzzle than just the Epstein files. And as I was putting the pieces together, the picture changed. The picture that I was trying to piece together evolved into something different.
Yes, most conspiracies are bullshit. But here we've got one clear conspiracy, the whole Epstein thing that is connected to a bunch of other half-assed conspiracies to protect rich pervs, and it's right in front of everybody's face. And nothing happens except in England, where people are getting in trouble for it.
People get in trouble. The titles are not conspiracy because most of them are based off of real court records and real police reports and real investigations that got shut down by politicians like Alex Acosta and probably William Barr, who eventually turned his back on Trump and the Republican Party. Maybe William Barr will testify, but he was an attorney general, so I don't know if he can. But
we'll see what happens in that. Kim, just really quickly, because we got everybody's viewpoints on different things, but we haven't heard from Dr. Sharif, so I want to hear from Dr. Sharif what's going on in his part of the world. He's on mute right now, but Dr. Sharif, if you'll share what you've got going on in your part of the world as well.
Yeah, we have elections tomorrow, that after the 17 month of lot of tensions and sacrifice and other things, we have elections. And how I see that all of the Bangladeshi peoples, we have national holiday, they are engaging with these elections. That is very important. Definitely, USA has a very close alignment with our elections and other things. But what I see, maybe what I'm observing, the right wing political party like Jamaat Islam, as Trump, I think he support these right wing activities and the political parties and other things. I think these right wing activities in Bangladesh, it's also growing. So this is interesting for me because maybe in 2-3 years ago, we cannot think that a Islamic party they come to the power. And how I see that the USA politics, they have influence over right-wing politics and they are supporting and all of the things. By this way, it can create impact. Another important thing, this Epstein files and all of the things creating very negative impact about the intellectuals of USA, about the politicians and oligarch activities in USA. So that's why this is another reason that people choosing the religious parties to from overcome from these situations. Also, the tariff issues, Bangladesh getting some sort of new tariffs from, I think right now it's a 19% from USA, as Bangladesh is a very good ally for USA for we are buying agricultural product for Bangladesh. I think every year we're going to buy agricultural product around $3.5 billion from USA. And on the other hand, we also exporting garments products in USA. So it's some sort of alignment and other things. But again, these Epstein issues creating, especially even in social media and other places, create very negative impact. I don't know, maybe the US people and the government and their thinkers, they can take decision. They will support this kind of initiative, or they can overcome from this situation. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you and everything. Do you have something you want to add, Rick?
I'm just looking at more reports from AI. So AI company Anthropic has issued its latest sabotage report, which came out yesterday, where the companies are obligated to research their own products. Anthropic does Claude AI, and it says there's a low but not zero risk that you can use AI to commit heinous crimes, including chemical weapons development. Like these companies have hundreds of billions of dollars invested in AI, so they have an incentive to not, some security experts like quit working for these companies saying, yeah, the security is inadequate. But when you've got $100 billion invested in your product, you're not going to shut your product down. So yeah, we should be freaking out about AI.
Well, and I want to bring something up because it is estimated that 1.1 million people will lose their jobs this year, and they're blaming it on AI replacing their jobs. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, if you're a paralegal in a little law firm who does research for the three lawyers, that your three lawyers could get together and say, you know what, Claude can do as good a job as Lynette. And see you, Lynette.
Well, Gemini, if you've ever used it, is a pretty interesting tool. It literally writes code in most of the code languages. You can tell it what language you want it to write in, and it will write code for accounting firms. Because I watched it do it. Someone showed me, watch this. And he said, I need a code to add to the accounting code that I just built. Can you add to do this, this, and this? And Gemini literally spit out the code, which it looked like C language to me. But
there's a measure of AI competence, which is how long can the AI run before it makes a mistake. And
Yeah,
it
they
used,
test it.
it
Yeah.
used to be measured in seconds, then minutes. Now AI can chug along doing, billions of calculations a minute for 5 hours before it screws up. So if you
Yeah.
need AI to write a legal brief for you to replace
Oh.
Lynette, your paralegal, the AI could probably do a better or as a decent job as Lynette, like 9 times out of 10.
So you can tell AI, you can give AI permission to look at your own research. Say, yeah, go ahead and look at my tabs, right? And
Yeah.
then tell AI to collect all the data from your tabs to write a brief for a lawsuit. And it will. And it will write it better in 2 minutes. It will write a better brief for a lawsuit than
Yeah,
anyone.
you've been paying Lynette $85,000 a year. You can subscribe to Claude AI for $20 a month.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
as a result, there will be a collapse of the entry-level jobs. In all markets, almost nobody is immune. So if there will be no entry-level jobs, so people who are getting their diplomas, where they are going to work, I think there should be proliferation of soup kitchens. So all these graduates and undergraduates and also entry-level people, jobs who will be fired, so they will have a decent soup as a meal for themselves, because there is nothing else they can do about it.
No, there's nothing else. And I think that AI could replace our president in a heartbeat.
So-
But
Probably could definitely do that just really quickly and make it very.
Wait, Dr. Sharif's got his hand up. Like, give him a shot before we go.
Yeah, thank you. As AI is growing everywhere, so definitely Pacific Rim Business Council, My World Talent Economic Forum, and CC Forum, we are launching this talent economy initiative with the collaborations of European Union and North America. And we are executing it Africa, very specific in Kenya and in Bangladesh. Our major objective, we want to introduce the social entrepreneurships. Because the young people, they need job, they need economic activities and so on. So we are inviting all of the investors, we are inviting all of the corporations like financial institutions or AI companies and all of the things. We are building ecosystem and helping the talents, those who have talent and those who have hard work and all of the things, and they can join in this South Asian economy or this African economy and build up entrepreneurial journey. And this way they can save themselves. Even anyone from North America, those who losing jobs, I want to welcome them all in our Pacific Rim Business Council, World Talent Economic Forum, and this CC Forum initiative for talent developments. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very
No
much.
problem.
just to point out what you guys were talking about in terms of AI being able to replace the entry level jobs, yes, that's going to happen. But the problem is that you also are creating another job within there, because AI makes a lot of mistakes. As much as you guys said that it does all this great, it doesn't. It has a lot of issues, and a lot of people are able to read how AI writes now. And that is another issue. So when you are just, hey, it writes this legal brief, that legal brief is easily picked up by the individuals, the paralegals, and so on and so forth that are human and actually reading it now and actually pointing out not only the grammatical errors, but also the errors in actually. So,
one exception, if these briefs will be read also by AI, so they will do all those mistakes.
That is an issue, because a lot of what ends up also happening in that, where it's like AI reading AI, because AI, what it does is it's grabbing a data set, and if that data set is flawed, and then it sends it to another AI to say, hey, how are the grammatical errors or whatever else, then it picks up another data set. So you're actually adding flaws into the actual whole mix, and it becomes a whole flawed system in the first place.
And it's harder
to advocate for the deaths of people or the jailing of people when you're supposed to be defending the person. And
Their problem point out it's harder for humans to babysit AI than to do the work. If you're a radiologist and you're looking at x-rays all day, you may make some mistakes. But if you're a radiologist who's checking AI that makes a mistake in 1 out of 100 interpretations of a CT scan, you're going to get bored because 99% of the time AI has gotten it right. So you might miss the 1 in 100 that you're supposed to catch by babysitting AI.
Well,
it's not only the actually babysitting of AI as well, but it's actually the laziness of us trying to find an easier way to do things so quickly that we begin to allow for the mistakes. For example, there are a lot right now. There's a lot of AI slop that's being shared around, based around. We'll use ICE as an example, where they show images or videos of people telling ICE to get out of here, and then the ICE people are backing up and people are sharing it. This is the way things should be. Yes, I'm so standing up. I love how that priest pushed ICE out of that's all AI. They're too lazy to look at the actual situation to understand that that's not really happening. And the fact that the individual in the background who popped up that was never there in the first place, I don't care, and I didn't really notice because I'm at that lazy point of this. I need this to happen.
One of the things that people don't understand is AI initially was intended not to replace people, but to improve our quality of lives and to improve and make our jobs more efficient, not replace us. But what happens is just like what Jacoby said, and Rick as well, but it becomes a means of, I don't have to. So AI can do it for me and I can still get paid. But now the greed has stepped in, and the people go, well, I can pay AI $20 a month instead of, Beth, $85,000 a year. And so we need to be more careful about how we use AI, because, as I've always preached when we were developing it, AI is only as intelligent as the people programming it and as the data being input by humans. And we're pretty stupid. So
I'll say
just be careful, like you were saying, be careful.
It's only as ethical as the people programming it.
Thank you. There's another, but AI doesn't know ethics.
It does not know ethics at all, and
empathy. It cannot express empathy.
No, it definitely does not.
Okay, I'll be back at 1 o'clock with financial.
We'll see you at 1 o'clock with Sasha Show.
I want to just say about today's work numbers today. I said an hour ago that they're all bogus numbers, and the market shows exactly when it popped up at the publishment report, it went all the way down and it's bleeding now, and it will go much lower. Here is a great Trump's report. It's all lies. There is absolutely not a single number that you can trust.
I read the reports every day, and I realize that everything's tanking based on the reports I get to read. So, I mean, I don't read everything that the people who are experts at it, but I read enough to see that it is tanking and it's impacting a lot of people's, lives that depended on it. But we got to go. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us, guys. As always, it's a pleasure to see all of y'all. Bye. Bye, Sheree. In the stream. Do you have an outro?
It's plugged in.
All right. Let's end it.
Yep. Just hit the end.